Now, we all know that mastering your cold calling game is pretty essential for B2B sales success. But what a lot of reps aren't prepared for is when they get the opportunity to leave a voicemail. And that's a real problem, since as 4 out of 5 calls that you make are definitely not going to get picked up by the buyer. So how can you up your voicemail game and maximize the value of every single dial that you make? Simple, just use one of these 3 word-for-word templates that we're going to talk about in this video. Hi, my name is Will and I make selling simple. Now today is all about voicemail, one of the most underutilized sales techniques for bringing prospects into your pipeline. We're going to look at 3 proven templates to get more callbacks and to build more rapport. First up, we're going to look at the foundation. This is the core template that you should be using for nearly every voicemail situation. Number 2, we're going to look at the referral. And as you know, referrals are absolute gold in sales. This voicemail template allows you to leverage a common contact to build maximum rapport. And finally, number 3, we're going to do the follow-up template, which allows you to turn around no-shows and bring leads back into your pipeline. We're also going to take a quick look at why each one of these templates work, and I'm going to give you some real-life examples of each of them as well. So are you ready to improve your voicemails dramatically? Well, let's jump right into it. First, let's start off with what we call the foundation template. This is the template that each of the other voicemail templates are going to be built on top of. And it goes a little bit something like this. Hello, this is Will Barron from whatever company you're working for. I'm calling because, and then you give the reason for calling. The benefits for you are, you give one strong benefit. I'm going to follow up with an email right now, and I look forward to speaking with you shortly. Have a great day. See ya. Goodbye. It's so simple, and once you practice it, it's so effective in the marketplace as well. So let's take a look at how this might look in the real world. And this is genuinely the word-for-word example of what I say when I'm selling Seller Made Simple Academy to VPs of sales, sales directors, CROs, people like that. So I've run the prospect, right? Ring, ring, they're not answered. I'll say, hi, this is Will Barron calling from salesman.org. I'm calling because we've just improved your competitors' revenue by 24% with just 4 weeks of training, and I think we can do the same for you. I'll follow up with an email right now, and then I look forward to speaking with you shortly. That's it. That's the message. Then you hang up and give yourself a pat on the back for an excellent touch point with your prospect. So that's what I would say. But let's break down this template so we can understand what we're actually trying to do here. First off, you can see that I'm not doing anything weird or manipulative. There's tons of old school ways of leaving voicemails, and it might sound something like this. You might say, hey, I'm calling because I've got something incredibly exciting to share, and I need you to call back right now before you lose access to it. This is gross, it doesn't work, no one's going to call you back. And I've even heard of old school sales trainers telling reps to start sharing a benefit on the voicemail and then purposefully hang up for halfway through a sentence so it sounds like they've been cut off. This is bullshit. This is obvious. You're just trying to manipulate to get the person to call back. And it just doesn't work. It probably didn't work in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s. It certainly doesn't work with the modern B2B buyer that we're all selling to today. And think of this from my perspective, back in medical device sales, right? Imagine using this tactic with a surgeon who is, the groups of individuals that I used to spend lots of time with, they used to buy lots of our products. They'd think that you were an idiot. You'd never get invited back into the operating room after you left a voicemail like this. So the template I shared with you isn't weird, it's not manipulative, you're not going to get people's backs up when you share it with them. The main thing that we're trying to communicate in our voicemail is that we're an expert calling upon someone that we think we can actually help. We're getting them used to our voice, and we're teeing up with the fact here that we're going to continuously follow up with them until they do give us a response. That's why we tie things back to an email and then we immediately send them an email to follow up. That's all we're really trying to do with a voicemail. Unless you're halfway through a deal and you've got something specific to talk about, most of the time your prospects are never going to reply directly to the voicemail itself. And that's why we always follow up with an email that builds on the trust and the rapport that our voicemail created. They've heard our voice, we said that we're going to email them, we've emailed them, and this gets us a few steps closer to getting that meeting booked. Now, what's great about this template is that you can tweak it for a variety of different situations, which brings us on to voicemail template number 2. This is the referral template. And obviously, as you might have guessed, this is the template that you can use to increase your response rate by pointing in the voicemail to a referral that you've been given. So, for example, every time I provided a high-level service to one of my surgical customers when I worked in medical device sales, I'd ask them, hey, Do you think there's any of your colleagues that could also benefit from working with us, from using our products and services? More often than not, they would provide a referral, and then I would call them and I'd use this voicemail template when I wanted to follow up with them. I'd say something along the lines of, hi, prospect name, my name is, and then your name. I'm calling from the company that you're calling from. I would then say the surgeon's name, the referral, suggested I should book a meeting with you and gave me your details because we have the original benefits that we shared with the prospect who bought from us for them, and they think that we can do the same for you. We wrap up the same as before. I'll send you a quick email right now with a few details on how the referrer, put their name in again, thinks that we can help you, and it'd be great to speak with you this week. Dead simple, right? We're getting the original framework, the original template, and we're adding a referral to it to make it even more powerful. And in this voicemail, we're leveraging a number of principles of influence. So let's touch on them just so you can understand this when you put this into your own script and your own product or service or referrals. First off, we're using the principle of influence of social proof, which comes from using our referrer's name and recommendation. Then we've been polite and likable, another element of influence, which builds the foundation for further rapport building further down the line. And we've also started to build a little bit of authority, the third principle of influence we're leveraging here, because we've solved a problem for our customer and we now have the opportunity to solve this prospect for someone else as well. That's not bad for a quick voicemail, right? There's a ton of subtle influence there, and that's why it's so damn effective. So now let's look at the third template that I'm going to share with you in this video, and this is when you get no-show events, how to follow up there. And you've experienced this, I've experienced this, every salesperson has. Prospects don't always show up to product demos, scheduled meetings, or other sales events. This is part of doing business, and if you are getting ghosted on every single meeting that you book, then you're doing something wrong further up the sales process. But we do need to relentlessly follow up with no-shows so that we can either get a yes, we want to do business from you, or no, we don't want to do business from you, which is great either way, because if they say no, we can remove them from our pipeline so we don't waste any more time with an individual that's never going to buy. Therefore, if somebody no-shows immediately, don't follow up by email, instead call them immediately, 2 or 3 minutes after they are late. Give them a call on their mobile phone if you have that contact details and the number. And be assertive here. They might have a very valid reason for not showing up. There was insane traffic, someone was ill, they couldn't get their kid to school because of whatever reason. Absolutely fine. But you're a professional and they've wasted your time. They've wasted your company's time. They've wasted the company's resources. This is not acceptable for a high-value deal maker like yourself. So call the individual, and fine, if they don't answer, leave them a voicemail that sounds something like this. Hi, and then the prospect's name. I'm calling regarding our meeting, the demo, the call, that we had booked in for, then the time and date that it was booked in for, which is today. I just wanted to make sure that you're not having any connection issues, as my diary is and my schedule is pretty booked up right now, so I want to see if I can squeeze you into another time slot that fits. I'll give you a call again in an hour to get this wrapped up. That is a powerful voicemail, and that will rebook meetings when people have ghosted you. And here you can see that we're not letting the prospect off the hook by saying, oh, I'll just email you at some point, you get back to me and we can rearrange another meeting time. Or by doing what I see a lot of salespeople do, which is not a good way to do business, by framing up the conversation that, oh, maybe it was my fault, I got the wrong date, it'd be a real pleasure to reschedule this in the future. If you go through the entirety of the sales process being unassertive like this, when someone has just screwed you by not showing up, they've blocked an hour, 45 minutes, whatever it is into your diary, that is just dead time now unless you've got something quickly to hand to fill it. If you let prospects treat you like this, they're going to walk all over you and they're going to treat you like an amateur. So again, think of the principles that we've influenced and tapped into with this no-show voicemail template. We've shown authority, we've shown scarcity because we're saying our schedule is nearly full. We've shown assertiveness, we're saying that we'll follow up in 1 hour on the phone rather than being passive and just waiting them to get back to us. And in my experience, when you do this, when you follow up with a voicemail and another call an hour later, you're going to get most of these meetings booked right back into your diary. I've got one final bonus tip for you before we wrap up this video. Make sure that the tonality of your voice doesn't go up at the end of each one of your sentences. Because when you go up at the end of each one of your sentences, it makes you sound uncertain about what you're asking from the prospect. So instead, talk a little bit like this, so that you go up in the middle of your sentence and then you come back down with an authoritative tone at the bottom end of it. And I don't have a particularly powerful or deep voice, but I find that when I sit up or stand up straight and I've got good posture, and if I talk a little bit slower, and I go down at the end of each one of my sentences, I start to project a lot more authority. Hopefully you could hear it as I'm talking there. And that makes a massive difference when you're doing these voicemails as well. So there are 3 voicemail templates that you can use: the foundation, the referral, and the no-show template as well. And don't forget, there's a link below this video to a blog post that has all these templates written out for you if you want to read it from a page rather than trying to remember it from a video. So that's all you need. So get out there, start making some calls, and start leaving some better, more effective voicemails today. And if you enjoyed this video, why not click the video that's on the screen right now and continue making selling simple.